So now we've talked about some additional options that are available when publishing files to SOLIDWORKS SELL. In the third part of this section, we're going to upload the remaining parts from our speaker project. Okay, so now we're back in SOLIDWORKS and we're going to upload the screws that are on the front of the project. So we're going to click New Group and we're going to choose these screws and we're going to choose to rename that group. Now we're going to choose New Group and we're going to choose, again, merge into single part. That's what we're using for the screws. And we're going to also use that for the rings of the speakers, so that if we change the lower ring, the upper ring will change with it. Now, last time we did this using links. This time we're using merge into single part. The big difference is going to be in the option for UV mapping. You know, the wood grain went in different directions, so I needed individual UV mappings on the wood grain. For the speaker covers, they're going to be either a metal or a plastic, so the UV mapping isn't going to be as important. So I'm just going to link them together into one single part. And I'm going to say New Group, and I'm going to do the same thing with the cones. So I'll rename this Rings, and I'll rename this Cones. I'm going to look at my resolution, make sure that that's set to coarse, and I think I'm good to go here. Now we're going to return to our SOLIDWORKS SELL project. We're going to click Refresh on the web page. We're going to take a look at our groups. We should now have a group for front screws, and we do. Now we already found a great material in rear screws, so I'm just going to click rear screws, apply properties to other groups, materials, and front screws. So take the material from rear screw, apply that to front screws. Now I get onto front screws, I've got that matte metal, and I'm going to say front screws should be a connection, so the name does not show up in the project. Now I'm going to go to rings. I'm going to say that I want to set the material for rings. I'm going to go to my plastics here, and I'm going to say I want to use maybe like a white, maybe kind of like a darker gray, and a lighter gray, and maybe a, let's say a blue. Okay, so for the rings, I'm going to have those options, and then I'm going to go to my cones, and I'm going to say set material, and I'm going to again go to plastic here, and I'm going to pick maybe a darker gray, and I'm going to pick a purple, kind of make some cool colors here, see what our customers can come up with, and a red. I think these all look pretty good, and I'm going to say okay. And then I'm going to go to my rings here, and I'm going to go to group options, and I'm going to call this speaker rings, and I'm going to go to my cones here, and I'm going to go to my group options under description, and I'm going to call this speaker cones, because remember, it's the description that's going to show up when you generate an assembly with those components in it. So now I'm going to go to my groups, and I'm going to say front screws, add that to bottom, origin to origin, bottom, origin to origin, and bottom, origin to origin. And so you can see that only wood panel, speaker rings, and speaker cones show up as selectable, configurable items in my project. So now I want to go and take a look at the preview of my project. This is what the end customer is going to end up seeing. I can zoom in a little bit, I can rotate around, and now you can see that I can choose the wood panel and change the different colors for the wood panel. I don't really like this dog tooth, and I don't really like this wood here, so I'm going to close the preview. I'm going to go back to my groups. I'm going to choose my, my woods here. I'm going to say select materials. I'm going to say show only selected, and I'm going to remove the dog tooth. I'm going to remove that darker wood also. Let me see if maybe I can find a better darker wood in there. So one thing I'm going to be looking at here is I'm going to be looking at the fact that my wood grain is going horizontal in the material texture, so I want to pick another wood grain that's also going horizontal if I can. So I'm going to pick this mahogany because this mahogany is also going horizontal. So I'm going to say okay. That gives me a nice dark wood that the customers can select for their speaker design. And again, I'm going to go to preview. So now I'm going to pick on this first one here, wood panel, and I'm going to go oak, walnut, or mahogany. Oh yeah, that is looking nice. I'm going to go to my speaker panel, and I'm going to be able to choose either this darker blue, this black matte, or this green. I think these are all looking very nice as well. I'm going to go to my speaker rings, and you can see that I can choose this white, this kind of darker gray, almost like a blue gray or blue here for my speaker rings, get a little exotic there. And then I can go to my speaker cones, and you can see that I can choose this darker gray, eggplant, I can choose gold, or I can choose SOLIDWORKS Red for my cones. I think this project is really coming together nicely.